This is Newcap News.
And municipal leaders across Saskatchewan, including Mayor Gerald Albers, are back in their respective communities tonight after a week of presentations and meetings in Saskatoon. The Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association Conference gave officials unique access to provincial government ministers and a chance to voice their views on policy. Adam McVicker has more on what it all means for the border city.
Mayor Gerald Albers is back in the border city, fresh off his trip to Saskatoon for the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association Conference, his first as mayor of Lloydminster.
Met councillors, met administrators and CAOs from various communities. It was a great opportunity.
Like many municipalities in attendance, infrastructure funding was a big point for Albers, specifically the wastewater treatment plant.
Had a chance to interact with the Minister of Highways and Infrastructure for a few moments. Let him know that our application was there. He was aware of it, so that was a good thing. I spoke to the Minister of Intergovernmental Affairs. She's aware of the application. It's a process. The question was raised by more than our municipality.
And the province let officials know there's only so much to go around.
There's more fence than paint. We may not get anything, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know that, and we'll deal with that reality when it finally comes to that final point.
Premier Brad Wall addressed the conference on Monday, suggesting the provincial deficit is expected to climb to $1.2 billion.
We're not going to punt on this. We're not kicking the can down the road. We're seeking to balance this year, and if it's not this year, it has to be very short-term, very clear, transparent way to get there.
As a result, cities have been told to expect less than their annual 1% of the provincial sales tax, but it's not clear whether revenue is down or the formula is changing.
We know that the province had committed to 1% of the PST many years ago with the Saskatchewan Party government. So they've been providing that money, and we appreciate it very much in the form of a grant. Will we see a reduction this year? Yes, we will.
Albers says the city had wide representation at the conference, gathering valuable information from across the province.
If our population was on one side, we'd be the 5th largest city in Saskatchewan. But certainly we have a strong voice in Saskatchewan, and we're going to continue to flex that strong voice as best as we can and let our views be heard.
Adam McVicker, Newcap News.
Well, incidents of reported water sales scams similar to the one that occurred a few weeks ago in Lloydminster have popped up throughout Alberta. While it's still legal to sell water filtration systems door to door, Minister of Service Alberta Stephanie McLean is reiterating that the individuals cannot in any way misrepresent themselves. McLean says any instance of false representation could result in a fine up to $300,000 or 2 years in jail.
Anyone coming to your door and misrepresenting who they are or why they are there is absolutely a violation of our consumer protection laws.
One of the giveaways of these incidents has been inconsistencies in their appearance, particularly with labeling.
There's insignia on their clothing but not on the vehicle they drive up in, or that their documents that they have don't also carry the same logos or insignia. There seems to be inconsistency.
If you have information to help these cases, you can contact the Consumer Protection Line by calling 1-877-427-4088. Well, after almost 10 years of planning and 6 months of construction, a heated building called the Speed Den officially opened to the public. Chantel Germo reports.
Border Blades and Kids Sport, along with community sponsors, constructed the Speed Den completely through donations and volunteers. The building serves as a heated dressing room for speed skaters and other athletes that use the skating oval.
For the last 3 years, we've been changing in our cars and changing in a tin sea can, which was very often colder than it was outside. So for them to come in, they have their warm-up and they come in here and get their skates off. It's also created such a great team atmosphere for them in here because they can sit just like a regular dressing room.
Although in the winter the facility will be used as a space for athletes, a storage room for kids sport, and a warm indoor place for parents to watch their kids on the oval, the group hopes the facility will be useful year-round.
We look for people who want to use it in the summertime. There is soccer and rugby that use the fields around us, so hopefully we'll build a partnership with them so that they can also use it as a change-room facility.
The city also offered their support to the Border Blades by taking on the responsibility of upkeeping and monitoring the speed den.
It was a very easy decision for City Council to support. What the skating club asked us to do was to take on looking after the building moving forward, and we have an arrangement and an agreement, and we're going to be able to let kids use this speed skating oval whenever they want.
Since opening the facility, the Border Blades have experienced a significant increase in members joining their club. Chantel Jermo, Newcap News.
And the Lloydminster Rescue Squad was on the receiving end of a little love today as a local restaurant decided to give back to the organization. Boston Pizza was serving up more than just pizza today as they donated $1,250 to the Lloydminster Rescue Squad.
This year we're very excited to be able to give back to the Lloydminster and Area District Rescue Squad. We know that we count on them, and so whatever little bit that we can give back to them means something to us.
The funds came from the sale of their kids' cards and other promotions done throughout the year. The Rescue Squad says the majority of their funds comes from community donations, so every bit helps.
It's nice to see that the community supports us and business like Boston Pizza to make this donation for us with all its partners. It's a good feeling for us, and that's what keeps us going as a squad.
The Rescue Squad says the money will likely be used towards a new motor for their boat. And vendors are busy preparing for Weddings on the Border Bridal Show at the Lloydminster Exhibition Grounds. This is the 10th year for the show in our city, which gives couples a chance to meet with local businesses. This year's event features a number of new additions, such as a lounge and on-site dress sales.
We have a couple new stage shows. So we have an expert panel. We also have another lady coming on, Michelle Charles Gustafson from the area. She's doing kind of a color segment in there. And then, of course, our fashion show at 6 o'clock.
Franklin adds she encourages groomsmen to attend the bridal show with their significant others.
We really want them to meet the vendors they're booking. A lot of grooms are like, it doesn't matter. But on the day of, you have to spend possibly 12 hours with your photographer. You probably kind of want to like them.
The show takes place this Saturday. Doors open at 11 a.m. Well, the temperatures are warming up, and for the weekend, if you're looking to get out of the house, Heather Clagus has some ideas for you in this week's What's Happening.
The annual Cutter Rally for Cancer is coming up later on this month, February the 25th, but Tuesday is when they have their early bird draw. So make sure you register now so that you can get in on that draw. You can take part as a teamster, you can take part on horseback, or you can pre-purchase a ghost hand to support this great cause. Make sure you get your ticket to support the annual Cutter Rally for Cancer. For more information, you can stop by the Lloydminster Exhibition Grounds. Sunday afternoon, you can head to Vermilion. Lakeland College is going to be the place where you can check out a really neat show, Beth Portman and the Good Find. She plays the ukulele, there's some banjo and a little bit other music thrown in there on some songs that are happily nostalgic but far from dated. She can take a simple train ride and turn it into an absolutely beautiful song. You're in for a real treat if you head out Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock in Vermilion at Lakeland College. This weekend, we want you to win a copy of Mariana's Trench latest album, Astoria. This album just got nominated for a Juno Award, and it's the follow-up to an album that won a Juno Award a few years ago. We want you to win a copy of this new album, and it's really easy. All you have to do is email your name and daytime phone number to tvcontests@newcap.ca. We want to say thanks to John at Universal Music Canada for setting us up with the music. And you've got one more chance to see some talented students from right here in our area. The Lakeland College of Performing Arts, their final showing of The Little Mermaid Junior is tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock at the Vic Juba Community Theatre. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you have a great one. I'm Heather Clagus, and that's what's happening.
This is Newcap Sports.
The ACAC basketball and volleyball regular seasons are winding down, and 2 Lakeland College teams have secured conference playoff berths while 2 more are fighting for theirs. Lance Phillips and Josh Ryan give some insight into what faces the women's teams over the last 4 games.
Thank you very much, Josh. It's a big weekend for Lakeland sports, basketball and volleyball, but more specifically, let's focus on the women's side. Let's start with basketball, considering that is happening tonight at the Lakeland Gym. Women really need 2 wins, and if they can beat Augustana twice this weekend, they're into the playoffs. Or if they can sweep Grand Prairie next weekend for their final 2 games, they're in. What do you think their chances are like going into this weekend?
I think their chances are pretty good. They've got the experience on Augustana. Nike Lee has played really well this second half. Obviously, the coaching is there as well. But they really do need those 2 wins. They don't want to be in a situation where they are watching from home, seeing how Augustana does, seeing as Augustana is 2 points behind, but has 2 games in hand. And that could be critical. If they do split this weekend, then they have to rely on Augustana losing a couple of games. And you don't want to have to rely on other teams having to beat the team that's chasing you.
Yeah, there's less pressure on them right now, but as you said, if they split, it puts more pressure on Lakeland to really get ahead of and beat Grand Prairie next weekend.
Exactly.
On the volleyball side, the women are basically in. At this point, it's jockeying for position. Where would you like to see them?
I would like to see them personally as the 2nd seed. That way you play the St. Trojans in the first round instead of the Red Deer Queens, who have been playing really well this second half. And you also potentially match up with a better matchup in the semifinals, depending on who you think is the stronger team or not. The main thing, though, is they want to be playing well going into the rest of the season. They want to have momentum. And if they could sweep Augustana this weekend and play really well against Grand Prairie on the road next weekend, that sets them up well for the playoffs. And they've been able to rest players already last weekend against Concordia. So they already are well rested. They just need to get in a good rhythm coming into this final tournament where they're going to have plenty of home fans cheering them on.
They've been stumbling a little bit in one aspect of the game. We managed to catch up with head coach Austin Dyer to talk about that.
We need to cut down our unforced errors. We've kind of been bouncing back and forth in matches with the amount of serves we're missing. We can range anywhere from about 7 or 8 to upwards to 15. When you're missing a bunch of serves, it makes it really hard to be able to run away from your opponent. Keeps them in the game and or gives them a chance to get ahead of you. So that needs to be a little bit better, but at the same time we still need to be able to serve aggressive. So it's finding that happy medium of serving aggressive but missing a little bit less. And we just, on serve receive, we need to make sure the ball is coming back towards the middle of the court so our setter can run 2 options.
Josh, what do you think about their service game and their serve receive game?
I think it's come along this second half, certainly. Even Olivia Thompson has been able to work on her game. Maybe watching Laura Popplestone has helped her in that respect. The power hitters have also picked up their serve receive game a little bit. Still could use a bit of work, but it's getting close to the point where they need it come playoff time.
What's your prediction for the women's volleyball team this weekend?
I predict that they will win in straight sets both nights, especially if they play all their starters, and they'll be looking primed to take on Grand Prairie next weekend.
Basketball, are they in the playoffs this weekend, or is the pressure on next in Grand Prairie?
Well, they still can't mathematically clinch playoffs this weekend, but I believe that their play this weekend will put them in the playoffs.